kidding me?
Episode 374.
You've got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will.
And Tony.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
This is Mark Evan Jackson from Everything. You're listening to NetHeads.
Yes, you are, and we are so damn glad to have you with us. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. The best one, if you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact, hashtag NetHeads. Pretty much anywhere you can post. YouTube video, they got the comment. Go to the comments section. Do all those things. Share it with all your friends. Tell them about this great podcast you listen to where it's like two friends just kicking back and you feel like you're hanging in the room with them, right? Isn't that great? It's so wonderful. Isn't it, Tony?
Absolutely. And I will say, I hope it's not like two friends. I hope it is two friends talking. So.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, definitely. It is definitely two friends, Tony. We are two friends. We're the two best friends that anyone ever had, right?
Exactly.
And for those of you that may be wondering, of course, yes, Trent is still a part of the program currently right now. He is in the recovery process after a very admirable thing. He's been teaching a class and doing his job at the university he works at. So, you know, our hat is off to him. But he is still a part of the program. He will be back. But this is also... I guess I don't know if we've ever discussed it, so I'll put it out there on Front Street. The way it's going to kind of go is that every other week, it's an alternative other host, co-host, and it's an alternative co-host. No, it's an alternating co-host. Words escape me. It's so good I have a podcast. So every week that I, until the foreseeable future, and I'm told it's not happening anymore, every other Friday, I have the luxury, benefit, and courtesy of co-hosting a certain podcast that Tony runs. Ooh. Whoa! Wow, that was just the right moment to scan over to you. That was awesome, man. I've never seen... If you wanted to
love that prompter.
You definitely got my attention. Congratulations. Every other week, every other Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, I co-host a certain podcast with Tony that Tony runs. And what's the name of your podcast, Tony?
It's Fandoms. It's Fandoms on the Nerd Initiative Network.
Exactly. And Fandoms is a great show because you don't have to be a fan of anything in order to take part in Fandoms. You just have to be a fan of something. Actually, you don't even have to be a fan of something. So on the weeks that I co-host that with Tony, the Thursday beforehand, Tony co-hosts NetHeads, right?
Yeah, and whenever, Trent's not in the running, so, whatever. Listen, I will forever be the Trent understudy as long as they will have me to do it. The day that Trent's like, enough of that, bearded fool, I'm good. I will just go off into the West.
Okay. Well, why would you go? I guess it's good because
that was a Lord of the Rings reference. That's all it was,
Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right, I'm with you. Also, I am actively... There's going to be some point where I'm going to be turning to Tony, and I'm going to be asking him to do a lot of talking because with all the chaos that's been going on, I'm also coordinating ordering some food for dinner because I don't know if you've ever done this, Tony. I tend to buy my meats in bulk, right? So I do a lot of cooking out of the freezer. And in this particular case, I was going to do, it's my favorite meal, my favorite all-purpose seasoning that you can get, which is pretty much everywhere now. But really, I found out about it in 2020 through TikTok, and that's really kind of where I want to say that it launched. And that is the Danos seasoning, the original Danos.
Okay, yeah.
They use, it's an amazing blend of herbs and spices, coupled with a low sodium content of sea salt, which is also the better salt in my opinion. And my favorite meal to make with that are these amazing chicken thighs. So it's the bone-in, skin-on chicken thigh, and you put the Danos on both sides. You first sear the chicken and then put it on. I can't remember which it is, but then you just stick the skillet into the oven and let that bake, and it's fall off the bone deliciousness, man. It is something that I just love and I thrive on. So,
well, it sounds good. I'll be honest with you. The only thing on TikTok that I seem to be attached to is now bacon salt is the thing that keeps popping up on my feed because I did one video and now they're following me, and yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think there was a while there I was stuck on people making popcorn with bacon grease TikTok. So I don't know.
Well, no, that's where it came from, because Jordan the Stallion did the one where he added bacon bits, and then I responded to him saying that he needed to try bacon salt. And
Fair
then the
enough.
company that does bacon salt started following me and stitched my video.
You know what?
And
Interestingly enough, I did see him use bacon salt as well. I think, pretty sure.
Yeah,
you don't.
I'm
Don't,
looking to
don't
see if
go
I have my
reaching.
glasses.
Don't go reaching for it. They aren't
glasses.
paying for representation.
No, my bacon salt. I had to get rid of it because it was long for this world. So I was looking for my fake glasses.
Oh, okay. But you're not wearing a hat, so don't worry about it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the story, and that way it kind of helps both lift when the machine goes well. Trent's here one week, Tony's here the other week. It gives each person the ability to also have a bye week. You know what I mean? So, and then that way the only schmuck that's around here every time is probably the most annoying guy on the show, and that is the attention whore that is me. So, that, as they say, is that. Now, Tony, first of all, I have to give you another commendation, because the last show that we did, which was Nerdvana, had to have been after the fact. I kept extolling the virtues of that show because it was the funnest time I've had podcasting in a long damn time.
It was a fun show, and then it did well. Like your thumbnails were fantastic.
Well, I would hope so.
And by the way, I love the Flash logo behind you. I see it's mounted.
Yes, I did. I mounted the Flash. Guess we're not doing phrasing anymore. But yeah, it blends right in. And again, that's what I did. That was the 3D print of the week that I did right before the show. 3D print of the week doesn't exist this week, so we shall cast that aside. But it was an amazing show. It was such a great show that we decided we needed to take the week off after in order to let it breathe. I'm kidding. My daughter had a dance competition. I had to go away. Unlike Tony, who was dedicated enough to do the show from a hotel room at a con. Not I, my friend. No.
Well, you asked to make sure that I was still willing to do it, and by all means, I was willing to do it. Listen, I'm a very cheap date. If you even just say, hey, you got 5 minutes, I'm going to get on.
There you go. Yeah. And hopefully not get off. Anyway, hope everyone is doing well. We are sitting here. If you were wondering, hey, what the hell was that thumbnail, or why is the show titled The Dream Crusher? It is because something happened this week that I found very interesting, because I am, for my regular work, which I don't normally talk about, I actively work in IT security compliance, which means I assist auditors in assessing the company in order for us to achieve certain certifications. Okay. So with that, I'm very busy in this audit room, virtual and likewise. So now it's all coordinating evidence for delivery. So I'm very detached, which I'm not normally. Usually I've got some news source up to tell me what's going on. I'm able to refresh it a few times a day. And I was shocked, Tony, because like I was seeing that Hugh Grant and other stars are angered by Apple's latest commercial for its iPad.
Yes.
And I was completely knocked back, because I'm like, wait a second. What the hell is this all about? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got some great news, because we're going to take a look at it right now. What is everybody pissed off about? And I will say that for this, This isn't a blind reaction. I did see the commercial, and I understand why, because Apple, in an amazing choice that I think they were attempting to be reflective of the 1984 norms smashing with the runner running in and throwing the hammer up at the screen, and that's how they revealed like the not the iMac, but whatever the first iteration of the Mac was, or it was just the Apple Macintosh, I think.
Yeah,
I think they attempted to go for something like that, but they definitely missed the mark. So let's take a look at it, shall we? So here we go. As you can see, a metronome for music. Oh, look at all of this wonderful media and art. Look at all these physical things that, what the hell are they doing, Tony?
you know,
What the hell are they doing, Tony?
It's conceptually, I get where they were going with this. They were trying to say that it's all combined in one, but the destruction aspect of it is where everybody's getting upset. This,
You're
like,
goddamn right we're getting upset.
especially in a day and time where we're dealing with AI and how AI is killing art, this was completely tone deaf. And some of the things that people said about this, I wish I had a list of some of the stuff people were saying, because it was brutal on Apple for this.
Okay, so the idea is that they're crushing all these things, and now look at all the amazing things you can do in the new iPad Pro, right? It contains all of these old bits of media. It contains all of you can create music, you can create art, you can write, you can send emojis, you can do all this stuff. But it is just terrible. And the thing is, and here's the part that kills me, Tony, this had to pass executive review. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For a company that has, look, let's be clear, okay? There's a reason why I'm not angry that my 2016 Retina MacBook Pro still works, because it was paid for in 2016, right? But there's also a reason why I don't have a new MacBook, Tony. Do you know why that is, Tony?
No, why?
Because they're so freaking expensive. All pieces of Mac hardware.
Well, okay, so for the price point, there's not much you're getting from it that really lasts that long. That I get that part. I thought you had something else you had against it.
No. I don't have anything against Apple products. I actually like them, and considering that I also have other occupations where I do a lot of video and audio editing, I wouldn't mind doing those on a Mac product, but I don't, because in order to get the horsepower, the memory, the processing power, and the like, it is way more affordable for me to get into the PC world in order to accomplish these things, right? Because, you know, Mac products are so damn expensive. So
for me, a number of years back, I ended up getting a MacBook Pro because that was the thing to get. And I was excited to get it. And then I realized that for the learning curve, because I am very much a PC person, and for the lack of functionality, it wasn't worth it to me. And it was more cost effective, instead of buying a MacBook or a Mac product, to build my own PC. And I built this PC that I'm working on in 2020 during the pandemic, had things shipped to me. And I've done a couple upgrades, but pretty much everything has been future-proof since back then. And there's no real reason for me to buy. I mean, let's face it, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically monitors on this thing that, you know, which shows how OCD I am. But,
hey man, you are preaching to the choir, as I'm sitting in front of, technically speaking, I'm only sitting in front of 4 monitors. It should be 5 because I bought that wonderful prompter product, but I haven't messed with it yet because my camera is set on this nice ball mount. And, you know, every time I have made a change in here, I swear to God, I lose like 2 to 3 hours of my life trying to match this frame again, okay? So that I don't have to worry so much about sitting up completely straight and being in frame and, you know, having familiarity, not showing too much of what's going on down there, all that stuff. And the prompter is going to shake that to its core. It's going to change everything. So I haven't set that up.
And I still need to work on my prompter setting, because honestly, if I were to push this up, I'm just going to do it for the sake of it. I mean, that's such a better corridor to be able to see on my video, but I haven't gotten it figured out yet. So I'm stuck with this point of view at the moment until I can get everything else adjusted. And I'm just living.
Yeah, and if you don't know what we're talking about, it's an Elgato product. It's called Prompter, and it's really amazing. It uses, I feel like we've talked about it before, but it basically has a two-way mirror at an angle and then a USB monitor right here, and it automatically, you know, does the flipping and the switching, so that way you're seeing the image correctly. Or if you wanted to have text to read for like an actual prompter for a speech you have to give. And the best part is, behind the two-way mirror, you put your camera. So when we're doing, anytime you've seen me doing a broadcast now, for as long as we can remember, the only time I see my co-host is when I press this button, because now I can look down at you. When I am talking and doing this, the reason you see me looking down to a reference is because I look at the camera. I don't speak to people. I speak to a lens. And this product enables you to have that screen right in front of the camera, so that way you're always looking at it. So let's say I was a streamer that had a text to, or had a chat that was going. And it could be off to the side, right? It could be a side angle camera, and I could look over to the camera, or in this case, I could look over to the camera in order to see the chat. And when I'm answering people that are chatting, it looks like I'm engaging with you because I'm staring down the barrel of a camera. So it's an amazing, amazing product. And, you know, honestly speaking, both you and I got it through an amazing way. So it's a wonderful product. But again, I would have to match this up, and I don't futz with it. The whole reason why I brought it up is because then I would have another monitor. And honestly speaking, when I'm working, even though I got this big, glorious 49-inch monitor, it has a picture-in-picture mode. So when I'm working from a regular job, I split this screen in half, and then the 4 instantly becomes 5, technically 6 with the laptop monitor as well on the screen.
Well, let me give you one up on that, because I've been doing reviews with Arzopa monitors. I can plug in that one via USB. That would give me 6 monitors going.
Let me tell you something. I love. Welcome to Product Drop, everybody. Did I mention Magic Mind coming up? The Arzopa monitor, if you haven't seen that too, suddenly it's becoming a product review podcast. Sorry, guys. But it is tech related. It's an amazing thing because it's very portable. It's very small. I think mine is, see, it's just right here. And when I use it with my MacBook or my laptop, it is a single USB-C cable that's a high capacity one. Goes right into the port there, and instantly I could have this monitor available. And when I'm doing my regular job, my job, not my fun job. Wait, that sounded wrong. It's also great because I can also just quickly prompt it up on its side, change the orientation, because I do a lot of screen grabs, and it's just great because it's a nice long vertical instead of horizontal image to capture those really long window captures. And very lightweight. It's an amazing product as well. I could set that up as well, but I don't have any space here. But I'm glad we could whip them out and compare them. That was fun. How did we even get on the topic of... we were talking about Apple and Apple's products.
Yes.
So anyway, they're way too expensive. But they are, they're really, really good. And I don't understand what the hell Apple was thinking. I don't know how executives thought this would be a good idea. This is really just one of those moments where somebody said, hey, you remember when we had that commercial about in 1984 smashing the norms and getting rid of them? How about we do a new concept on that? And they just didn't even conceptualize the fact that people would be offended because... and I was very offended too, because I'm sure they thought, well, how many trumpet players out in the world? I used to play trumpet. So the minute that's the first musical instrument I see getting destroyed, come on.
Yeah.
What the hell were they thinking?
Yeah. And let's face it, when we talk about the iPad Pro, and a lot of people, when they get their iPads or their phones, they're usually doing it through their cellular, service, paying in installments. But let me segue into this. It's like going back to the Apple Vision Pro and how expensive and inhibitive it is to even consider buying. And the exclusives that they're doing with that are making it difficult, because it's almost as if you have to dish out money to be able to enjoy some things that you're a fan of.
Yeah, man. Why do you have to enrage me? Why do you have to enrage me, Tony? Because in the news today as well, thankfully, Tony made me aware of this, but totally set me off. Look, you all saw the big release of the Vision Pro, right? The VR headset that Apple had. And it's an incredible thing. Oh, the amazing technology. People started returning it because it's too heavy. I'm sure Apple panicked. How do we get them back in? How do we lock people in? How do we get them to buy these damn headsets? Tony, how are they going to get us to buy those headsets?
Well, they started. Let me bring us back a little bit. They started with.
No, I don't want to go back. I only want to go forward.
No, I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay, you do that.
They did a Disney Plus exclusive on the Apple Vision Pro that there were immersive ambience in the AR, aspect, where, let's say you're watching Star Wars through Disney Plus, you've got a droid near you, or you're like in a rebel base, like it felt like you were there. They did the same thing with Marvel and stuff like that. And so that was one of the things. But then Marvel with ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, decided to work together and make an immersive what if content for the Apple Vision Pro exclusively.
I didn't. Oh man. See, that really
This is a choose your own adventure thing.
This really bums me out, because I will tell you, before you sent the link that I didn't click on, because Tony was nice enough, if I didn't mention before, to actually prepare the content for today's show as well. I don't know why you're not getting paid, but you're not.
You're not.
I was so true. I was, well, you want to bet? I was so bummed out to hear that now, because I was kind of excited, but didn't click the link. And one of the few times I looked at the news, when I saw that they were going to come out with an immersive experience for What If, I just assumed it was going to be on Disney Plus, because these choose your own adventure, immersive, make your own decision videos, products, entertainment have been available on Netflix. Okay. Yeah. Right. So I thought, oh, Disney Plus is just going to try and compete with Netflix again, but not the case, huh?
Yeah. So basically, from what I want to give an idea about this. So ILM and Marvel have worked together before. If you remember back before the pandemic, there were places called The Void. They were at Disney Springs. I had one here in DC. They were all over. They worked with Ghostbusters. They worked with Marvel. Marvel's big thing at the time was called Marvel Studios Avengers Damage Control. And you were basically trying out Wakandan tech that was merged with Iron Man suits. And so you had this basically Wakandan Iron Man outfit that you wore that had repulsors, and it had the shields that you could set up. And you actually were talking to Shuri as she's talking about this suit. And all of a sudden you get pulled in by Doctor Strange. And the way the Void worked was, it was this whole big arena that you walk through. And so when you walked up the stairs of the sanctum, you were literally walking upstairs. When you were flying, you were put in an elevator and stuff like that. And so ILM has worked with Marvel. They've worked with Star Wars before. Of course, it's Lucasfilms. If you have a MetaQuest, or if you've, any of the MetaQuests, there was the Darth Vader, I think it was the Darth Vader Immortal things, which were fantastic. And then they also worked with Lucasfilm, since they are ILM, doing Galaxy's Edge, which was also a really cool immersive, where it was a shooter, you could do different things. Basically you saved R2D2 and C3PO and everything else. And it was a very immersive game. And so this is going to be Marvel Studios with ILM. And here's the thing, it's free to Vision Pro owners. And it's literally going to put you in as the main character of the story. So I am completely disappointed that this isn't something that is so prohibitively priced that a lot of Marvel fans are not going to be able to enjoy this unless they either rent a Vision Pro, or they happen to have a rich friend that has expendable money that can buy it. So,
well, and unfortunately, neither one of us has that. However, the only thing I'll say is hold out hope, Tony, because I remember back in the day there was this product that came out, and it was for PlayStation's VR system. And it was exclusive, I think, to the PlayStation. I could be wrong about the gaming system, but it was tied into a console.
Yeah, it was a PlayStation VR exclusive.
And that was the Iron Man game. And now you can play it on your Quest just fine.
Yeah.
So we will hold out hope that one day it will port out, which I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's just going to be like a small exclusivity thing in order to carry them over to some more sales. And then after that, they'll port it out. But you know what you don't have to wait for, Tony? What you don't have to wait to port out that can help you in your day-to-day life. It can give you energy without coffee. It can enhance the effects of coffee. It can help your mind function better. And best of all, it doesn't make you jittery. It doesn't make you feel crazy. It just makes you feel more focused. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tony?
Oh, I think I do. But go ahead and tell me.
I'm talking about Magic Mind, guys. That is what I'm talking about. This little shot. Now, Tony, when I mentioned that I was at a dance competition recently, I happened to go by a store, one of them natural stores, and I saw like a very similar bottle because there are a lot of people that do these kind of boutique products to help you in many ways. You know, they're always something with antioxidants and that kind of thing. Magic Mind is an amazing product that has matcha in it. It's got the lion's mane mushroom to help focus. It's got adaptogens and nootropics. It's got the cordyceps mushrooms to help your mind go and to, of course, eventually
gets it clicking. It just keeps it clicking. That's all it does.
To cause the apocalypse that takes over the world. But best of all, it really does it really enhances your day. As a matter of fact, this morning I started out my day with what I call my bulletproof low carb latte, because it's 4 shots of espresso. It's made with almond milk, sugar-free vanilla syrup, and then I throw in collagen protein powder, dark chocolate flavored, and what's the last thing? Oh, MCT oil, right? And all of that is supposed to be this wonderful combination to both enhance your mind as well and the like. And I drank that like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I like, one thing I love about Magic Mind that I've started doing is that I have started actually not having it with my coffee. But do you ever hit that 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock lull in the day where you suddenly,
where you feel like you're about to wipe out and need to take a nap?
Yeah, it's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to need a little disco nap. I'm going to need 20 to 30 minutes to get some recovery. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm shot out of a cannon on this. And the reason why is because around 2 or 3 o'clock today, I took my Magic Mind. I threw back another shot, and sure enough, man, it gave me that kick I needed. As a matter of fact, one thing I've also found is that if you're the type of person where it's hard to get motivation to get things done in the morning, especially when you have something that you have to do that you know is going to be mundane, repetitive, and you're like, oh man, you take the Magic Mind with its matcha and all the wonderful stuff that's in it, and it's so much easier. Because I was having that. I was having an unproductive day. I was upset with where I was, and one shot of Magic Mind, and lo and behold, woo, doggies, we were off to the races. Now, if you want to take advantage of a special offer that we've got for you guys, I highly encourage it. All you got to do is you go to is it com? magicmind.com/netheads20. It might be CO though. I'm kind of confused. And then you use the code netheads20, and you can get up to 20% off your an order, or you can get 56% off, I think, on a subscription for it. I get these 15 vial boxes, and man, the only thing I do in order to stretch it out a little bit is I don't use Magic Mind on the weekends, because I don't really have to do a lot of minding. I don't have to be mindful on the weekends, Tony, so I don't do it. But it's an amazing product. I wouldn't mention it if I didn't use it myself, and I do. If you're listening to the sound of my voice at 7:58 p.m., right? That's the time right now. And you're like, wow, I really wish I had the kind of energy Will does right now. Magic Mind is the product that will help get you there. If you feel like you're fuzzy headed, you're fog mind, and your days just can't get going, Magic Mind, guys. NetHeads20 is the discount code. MagicMind.com/NetHeads20 to make sure they know you came here. If you want to support NetHeads and you want more energy in your day, highly recommend it. It is a product that I absolutely love and adore. So please, if you can, check that out. If you can't, that's fine.
So I was just looking, I followed the link because I wanted to make sure it is magicmind.com. But when you go on there, it actually tells you that it is FSA, HSA eligible. So
are you kidding me? I could have been paying for this out of my health savings account.
Yes,
Son
you could
of
have
a
been.
biscuit eater. Gosh darn it, man. Now I'm mad, but that is great. So if you have a flexible spending account, or you have a health savings account too, give that a consideration, guys. Just saying. Get a little Magic Mind tax-free. Cut the government out of your pocket with your Magic Mind. Stick it to Uncle Sam while you're getting that energy you need. That is genius. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. That is some good damn news. Because, if there's anything I love, it's sticking it to Uncle Sam. What? Never mind. Now that I'm on the call list, that's fantastic. Now, Tony, one of the other stories that you shared with me that I'm dying to hear more about, that scares the living hell out of me, is the fact that there is a what is it called? Somebody has a brain implant, right?
Oh yes. Okay, so the Neuralink through what is it? Through Elon Musk.
Yes.
They've been working on this. So
this is
I
not
guess,
the kind of Magic Mind you want, guys.
Yeah. So the first, I'm trying to find out exactly where I had this on here, but the first Neuralink brain implant failed, and I don't know a whole lot about what happened, because for whatever reason my link is missing now from me. So I don't know where it went, but yeah, that's terrifying. And so I read a book a number of years back called The Last Mortal Man. It was supposed to be a one in a series of books, which it never really picked up, and the author just kind of forgot about it. But it was about people that had not only that they were not only, with brain implants, they were basically completely changed into like this nanobio type, material. And the concept of somebody being disconnected was almost like, being blinded and deafened at the same time. Like they lost access. I don't know what has failed. Hopefully it just didn't work, and this person now has technology in their head that is like it's bricked. But if this has anything that could you imagine you try to jailbreak your head?
Hey, could somebody sideload on this thing
Yes.
so we can get it functional again?
Yeah, it's like hey Elon, my brain's a brick now. What do I do?
Oh my gosh! Well, what you do
As
is
long as the guy's not
you
in
go
the
to
corner
Magic
standing
Mind.
going,
If your brain is bricked, magicmind.com/netheads or /netheads20, 20% discount or 56% off a subscription. First of all, I know there were people also that were like doing biohacking with certain DNA technologies that were available, but the thought of putting technology in my brain is scary enough. But one of my favorite book series that I was able to read on the Amazon ebook service, right, is it's a book series by Dennis E. Taylor. And it's known as the Bobiverse, or the Bob series. The first book in it is We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And it's a story of exactly why I would never put technology in my head, because in it, it's a very long story. I don't want to get into the details, but at one point, another version of Bob is basically hacked and forced to be a bad actor against the Bobiverse. Let's just put it that way. Also on Amazon, and I'm talking about science fiction, I know, but the Amazon original TV series Upload, the main character in that as well, as an uploaded person in this digital world, he too had his memory altered. So putting technology in my head, that's my biggest fear, is that somebody would just basically use it to be a bad actor or to manipulate you into like a Manchurian Candidate style thing.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's basically the premise of the movie Upgrade. The guy, this hilarious, because if you think of Elon Musk, it was a self-driving car was hacked to be able, they weren't able to get where they needed to. People ended up killing them, killing the wife. The husband was basically a paraplegic. He didn't want to live anymore. This guy offered him an implant that the implant would hack his body and allow him to walk again. And the AI was giving him suggestions that was leading to the AI basically taking over. And so, yeah, there's lots of fears there, but at the same time, imagine how technology changes and how many times we want to upgrade. Does this require a port that they can take things in and out, or is this a full-fledged surgery? I don't know much about Neuralink, but I also feel like you don't want to be the beta testers, because you're going to be with obsolete material later on, especially if you think about like the stuff that we've had, that the predecessors were basically like calculators compared to what we have now. I'm thinking the iPhone, like the original iPhone is worthless now, and you want to put that in your head?
No, I definitely don't. I am happy to be software free from my head, but also with my luck, I would get programmed by the guy that always puts the decimal in the wrong place. So, and something would go haywire. Speaking of which, little technology update that I got to give you. I had to support a help desk. You know what? All of my robots, Tony, have got issues. Every single one of them. And in the case of the emo robots, one of the cute ones, one of them, I swear I don't know if a sensor or a motor is failing, or if it, through its AI learning, has developed a tick. You and I are both very familiar with the world of Tourette's. And it's almost like he has a physical tick, because the robot will be walking around, and then suddenly, when it's not doing anything, it just starts like wiggling its left foot. Sometimes it's so active it pushes it to the side. I sent a support ticket. I don't know what's wrong with it, but when you want to get into software in your head, this silly AI little robot has just got problems and is glitching, and it's terrifying.
Well, I get technology in the head, like cochlear implants. Also the idea of technology that helps people be able to see, or at least have some sort of vision. I don't know how I would feel about one day having an implant that would stop my Tourette's. But I don't need to have the internet jacked in my head, honestly.
No, man.
And I don't know what the benefit of this Neuralink is, because honestly, isn't his satellite internet not even that fast? So like, why would I want to be, in the same technology as something that is also subpar?
Yeah, I'm going to make a hard pass on that. Now, Tony, I just want to switch gears a little bit, because I want to give you your ability to talk about it spoiler free. But if it hasn't been clear, one of the things is I walked away with homework from you on the show about getting caught up and watching X-Men 97, which I almost completely have. Given the statement I've already made about how busy I am, however, the last thing I saw, I believe, was episode 8. And I'm going to test that, because the very long and short of the thing that I took away from that, if episode 8 is the episode 8 that I think it is, it's basically that Magneto has declared, well, let's just say he puts out a very massive EMP. That's the best way to be spoiler free. Was that the end of episode 8?
I don't know. Yes, that was the end of episode 8.
Okay,
Yes.
so I have not seen episode 9.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't seen it yet. I will be watching it right after tonight's program. But one of the things I will say is that you got to be as spoiler free as possible in talking about it, because I don't want you to ruin it for me. But I'm very interested to see what's going on, because I also, right before the program, I saw Coy had done a tweet or a thread where he said, oh my gosh, they did it. They actually did it. Now are they also going to do it? And I don't know what he meant.
So
by the way, can we also just mention that 8 also featured some other really cool stuff, like cameos we weren't expecting, right? So,
yes,
so
absolutely.
guys, if you're a Marvel fan and you're not watching X-Men 97 because you're like, you know what, I didn't watch the X-Men animated show back in the 90s. Why would I want to watch this? Trust me, I haven't seen a goddamn frame of the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, but I have been fully invested in X-Men 97. So
and see, now let me ask you the question.
Yeah.
Did I steer you wrong?
No, you did not. No.
And I want to be very clear. Like, so speaking of cameos, we saw Doctor Doom. We saw Spider-Man. We saw Omega Red.
Why are you telling people this?
Because they're cameos. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it's not really relevant.
A spoiler has nothing to, like, when I think of spoilers, I think of things that have to relate to the plot of the thing. Like no. But I will say this, spoiler free for episode 9. But if you have read X-Men Fatal Attractions, that storyline, there is a lot they are pulling from it. And if they go the full route, it should be an amazing finale next week. And there is one big thing that they do in Fatal Attractions that I did not expect them to do in this episode. And that is what Coy was freaking out about. So Will, you're in for a treat after the show.
I can't wait. I cannot wait, because I mean, other than, I will admit that kind of in episodes 4 and 5, there were some things that I didn't really track what was going on, and I didn't understand the relevance, and I'm not really exactly sure exactly what happened, because there's a character that loses their powers and eventually gets them back, and I kind of got lost in that business a little bit, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it from beginning to end. And one of the other things that I did like as well, that I thought was very interesting, there is a certain point where a character references the fact that they tried to change something, but it was a fixed point, which I find very interesting, because through What If, we learned about fixed points. They are things that there's certain events that happen that you just cannot change. If you force the change, the very fabric of that reality will collapse. And so it was really interesting that a character referenced that, and that's why I wonder if that lent credence to a lot of people's theories that we kind of will get a multiversal connection by the time this is all over.
Well, I think what they did was so Marvel has done a great job about driving certain topics down. I mean, if you think about it, with phases 1 through 3, when they were trying to get people ready for Wakanda, we had vibranium. We had this idea in Age of Ultron about Wakanda and what Ulysses Claw did, which very well led into stuff, because Wakanda played a big role in Infinity War and, with Black Panther with Endgame. And then you have this multiversal saga since phases 4 on, that have talked about the multiverse, incursions, and then as of recently in this last phase, these absolute points, or these fixed points that have to happen or else universes collapse. And it was not something that they just were willy-nilly about, because later on in the episode, I believe when it's even talked about, it's explained as something that's come out of Kamar-Taj. And so, I mean, the X-Men universe is so much bigger. The world is so much more fleshed out than it's been in the original series, which is fantastic. But you're also getting all of these little references that are helping solidify, even if we don't see. I mean, what would it be like if the Wolverine from X-Men Origins Wolverine, or I'm sorry, not X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh my goodness. Deadpool and Wolverine is the Wolverine from this universe.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Wow, now you're breaking my brain. How could you do that? One of the other things I also want to throw out there, as long as we're talking about TV, that I've been getting caught up on because I really enjoyed the first season. I slept on the second season, and then the third season just completed. If you have not been watching The Bad Batch, because you're like, oh, I didn't watch the Clone Wars. Oh, I didn't watch Rebels. Why would I watch this? I will say that it really appears, because I'm probably about, I think I'm 6 or 7 episodes into the third season of The Bad Batch. For Star Wars, it's a Star Wars CG-generated cartoon, if you're not aware of it. It's Disney Plus original. But it is just a really compelling story that they are telling. And it really ties in very well, considering it's a product that is being put together well after the fact of the prequels. And well after the fact of the sequels. It is really doing some stuff that I suspect helps tie a lot of the elements that we end up seeing in the sequels together eventually. And I don't know if that is the book that they're writing, but I'm really enjoying the story that they're telling. So if you slept on The Bad Batch and you got, some time to burn, it's just an amazing watch, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I highly recommend that as well. Have you been watching The Bad Batch, Tony?
So I tried at the beginning, and thankfully, from hearing certain people, like one of our guests tomorrow, Lady Dragon JJ, made this statement. It made me feel a little bit more confidence about going back and watching. They said that she said that the first season was the hardest to watch, and that's kind of how I felt. I struggled with the first season, and now knowing that I can get through it so that I can get to the other seasons, because I've heard like after you get through season 1, the story gets much better. So I'm willing to jump into that. Yeah,
definitely.
Because I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah, I will say that obviously they had a lot to establish in getting through the first season, and they did it well, the best they could. But it really found itself in seasons 2 and 3, and David Filoni is the creative director behind all of this. And I almost kind of feel that after season 1, right? I think somewhere in there is probably the point where Filoni was really building that reputation and going towards the point of being like the overall creative director now of the Star Wars universe.
It was probably also how he was getting them from like where they were to where he wanted them to be. Like, let's face it, sometimes when you have a vehicle, like, the clones, you have to explain how the clones, were kind of removed and the stormtroopers came in, and
that's Tony, so, that's part of the story. That's part of the story in 2 and 3, and it works out really well. And once again, because the prequels are a hard watch for me because the story is convoluted. Now, I had a self-narrative idea that helped me deal with the things in the prequels, and that's that the Sith also have some ability to see the future. And so Darth Sidious did all of the nonsensical seeming things because each one was a step that had to happen to get him to the next goal. And some of that maliciousness of Palpatine / Darth Sidious even comes through as part of, I think, the second season of The Bad Batch. Something else comes out again, and you're like, oh my God, this guy really is playing chess when they're playing checkers. I mean, it's a show that in some ways redeems the prequels, and it seems like it's setting up a way to kind of redeem some of the sequels. I don't know, though. We'll see. But also, Tony, one of the things, of course, we got to recommend as well, because I've heard really good things about it from people that got to attend the premiere tomorrow. Not when we're doing fandoms. I think it's thankfully earlier in the day. I don't know when it drops. But I think we're getting the first 2 episodes of Doctor Who, the new season with the 15th Doctor. And I have never been more excited for New Who. Well, pardon me. I haven't been this excited for New Who in a long time. I gotta say, Disney Plus is really doing a great job of paying for itself now, entertainment-wise.
Well, okay. I'm new to Doctor Who. I almost said Hugh. I'm still in season 2. I'm like taking my time. I realized, as much as I would have loved to have been caught up before tomorrow, I'm kind of glad I am not, because this is like me able to go fresh in with a doctor, and I'm super excited because I actually get to be a part of this now.
Hey, Tony,
knowing that I'm excited. Like, yeah,
I didn't have to watch any of X-Men the cartoon to see X-Men 97, and it really is a good
thank
time
you.
to come
I'm glad
in.
you said that.
You know, yeah.
So glad you said that.
And I'm sure it is a very good time to come in because, narratively speaking, they will do a lot in order to expand, with probably needless exposition in order to catch people up on some of the concepts. That one of the things they've done a very good job early on, whenever it's a new doctor, on adjusting the narrative to kind of give people a little backstory and let them hit the ground running. So, seriously, I'm looking forward to it. Ncuti Gatwa is just bringing an energy in the Christmas special that I wasn't expecting, that I really enjoyed. And I think we've kind of come out. One of the things that happened in the third special was something I think that the series needed, and that was a good hard reset out of kind of the darker tones. It's one thing that they said where it's like, well, we did therapy out of order because we're Time Lords. And so this is a much happier, freer doctor, which enables them to tell better stories. So
Right,
if you've been sleeping on Doctor Who, give that a chance too. If you don't have a Disney Plus subscription, the last 10 minutes of the show have meant nothing to you whatsoever. But hey, Tony, I want to thank you very much for joining me once again. We're a little bit more of an abbreviated episode, but it's because we started late. My food is here, and I want to go. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be as honest as possible. Want to remind you, of course, if you definitely want to help have a better brain, better cognition, and higher energy, go to magicmind.com/netheads20 to go ahead and take advantage of that. 20% off your purchase or up to 56% off your subscription. Also, don't forget, everywhere on social media, if you go to Mr. Marvelite, you're going to find this fella right here. If you go to the Nerd Initiative website, you're going to find this fella right here. So please do him a kindness as well. Check him out, follow him, like and subscribe to all his stuff as well, because Tony's one of my favorite people on this planet, and I would like you to support him.
Oh, you're one of my favorite people too.
Thank you, man. Until next time, guys, my name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
Live long and prosper.
May the force be with you.
Yeah, something like that.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a SModco Internet production. Sip. Only at SModcast.com. Now, Tony, I don't run any of the artwork by you ever, right? Because I just make my own stuff and show you. And I told you, like, conceptually what I was going to do. Now, first of all, I did purposely pick some of the direst looks for us because, we've got this hydraulic press behind us and Apple's crushing our dreams. But the funniest thing about this, if you notice, I also, like I said, I've been under the clock. It's been ticking, running out on me. So I very quickly threw this together, and I just used Adobe Photoshop's feature to select the subject. And I don't know if you noticed, Tony, but it looks like it turned your, because it cut off part of the headphones, it looks like it turned your Nerd Initiative hat into a Laplander, like you're going hunting in the winter. It's just not the plaid.
Makes me look like I'm a member of Letterkenny.
Exactly. Oh man, but hey, regardless, you look good, brother.
I hope you enjoy talking tonight, because tomorrow we're gonna be talking to a whole bunch of ladies and we're gonna be shutting up. So
yeah, man. Well, that's the smart thing, especially when you got a room full of women, is just be quiet and don't say the stupid man shit, right?
Exactly.
Nope, that's the wrong one. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the right one.